While we look for ways to de-escalate the rising tensions in Minneapolis, there's also debate about the role of the Second Amendment after the latest shooting. Officials say Alex Preddy was a lawful gun owner with a permit to carry. It is also legal to carry a permitted firearm in a public space in Minnesota, even during a protest. Still, some prominent voices, like FBI Director Kash Patel, have made some pretty imprecise statements like this about the situation.
You cannot bring a firearm loaded with multiple magazines to any sort of protest that you want. It's that simple. You don't have that right to break the law and incite violence.
Similarly, U.S. Attorney Bill Ilese posted, if you approach law enforcement with a gun, there is a high likelihood they will be legally justified in shooting you. The NRA calling SLA out for that post, writing, they wrote this sentiment about it, saying, quote, dangerous and wrong, adding responsible public voices should be awaiting a full investigation, not making generalizations about demonizing law-abiding citizens. And, of course, even California Governor Gavin Newsom called out the Trump administration, saying it does not believe in the Second Amendment, which is a joke, given Newsom's long-standing anti-Second Amendment record, which includes severe restrictions on concealed carry in California. Joining me now is Amy Swearer, American Freedom Senior Legal Fellow, to break it all down. Amy, great to see you tonight. So first, there's a lot of aspects to this, which we're going to get into. First, let's talk about the legal aspect. You know, everybody thinks they know what happened from the video, but with your expertise looking at it, you say, what about what we're seeing?
I think this is a very chaotic situation. I think it's very easy for us in our quiet homes, in our office chairs, to sit there and play Monday morning quarterback with the ability to break down frame by frame, second by second what's happening, and to be like, oh, the gun was taken here, you should have known this. I think it's much harder in the scenario that those officers found themselves to actually know what was happening, to be able to perceive rightly or wrongly what was happening, and to be able to make those split-second calls. And I think because of that, this is a situation that would really benefit from having a transparent and thorough investigation into what happened. I think that's good both for the public, the sense of trust that the public has, but also for these officers themselves, so that it's not just us playing Monday morning quarterback, but that they are able to give a full assessment of what they saw and experienced and felt in that moment. And I think it's also good for the family of Alex Preddy to know what happened.
Yes, absolutely. The Second Amendment and concealed carry are at the center of this because Alex Preddy had a legal permit to carry, although it was allegedly wasn't on him. We can debate whether that was even important at the time. Right. But what is your response to the FBI director and the U.S. attorney basically saying that if you are a concealed carry holder and you approach law enforcement, they have a legal right to shoot you? I mean, there's millions of Americans who exercise this right. It's complicated, and there are lots of rules, as we know, as concealed carry holders. When you take a concealed carry course, varies from state to state, but there are lots of things they tell you to do, including not to escalate a situation, but to de-escalate.
Yeah, look, there's always a tension when you have a society in which there is the ability to lawfully carry, and you have law enforcement officers who don't always know the intentions of everybody who's carrying at every given time. I think the comments that we've seen, including specifically those from Kash Patel, they're incredibly unhelpful. They're not precise. They're not necessary. They're not factually correct. And I think they're also irrelevant to the situation. When you look at why Alex Preddy was shot, regardless of whether you think it was justified or unjustified, it wasn't because he was merely carrying in the vicinity of law enforcement. That's never going to be the reason that law enforcement, at least justifiably, is using lethal force. It was because of the actions he took, for better or worse. And to be clear, I don't think he had nefarious intent. I think he was a little bit reckless and unwise in how he acted, knowing that he was carrying. But in that situation, that is what happened. It was not the mere act of carrying. It certainly has nothing to do with Alex Preddy carrying multiple magazines, which is something that tens of thousands, hundreds of thousands, myself included, concealed carry permit holders.
They train you to carry more than one magazine.
Some of the most commonly owned holsters come with the ability to put two magazines in them. It has nothing to do with that. And I think to conflate those issues, it's unhelpful in terms of the public relations of this. And I think it's also unhelpful in sort of dampening those fires because it just makes us argue all the more about all these things that really didn't matter in that scenario.
Well, someone who never misses an opportunity to take political advantage of any situation, of course, is California Governor Gavin Newsom. He's now claiming that the Trump administration doesn't respect the Second Amendment. We know that the record shows that they do, despite the statements that were made over the weekend. Just your response to the governor now trying to get in on this?
Listen, if Governor Newsom wants to suddenly pretend like he is the bulwark of the Second Amendment, he can take a very long walk off a very short pier. Because when you look at his own state makes it a felony to carry a concealed firearm, even for lawful concealed carry permit holders. It is a felony for them to carry that in any First Amendment gathering or public gathering of this nature. So for him to go out there and pretend like, oh, how dare Kash Patel say this, clearly unwise and unhelpful thing. Look, at least Kash Patel isn't out there turning that unwise and unhelpful statement into literal public policy.
And literally throwing law-abiding citizens into prison as well.
Correct.
All right, Amy Swearer, thank you so much. Hope to have you back. Thank you for coming in.
Thank you.
Check her out on X. She has lots of good stuff to say.